6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Rumesh Piris. First, the headlines. Special operations are being conducted to check on health guidelines during the festive season. More than 3 million persons have been given the booster dose. The 77th anniversary of civil airline services celebrated under the patronage of the President. The GMOA says it will continue strike action until their problems are solved. The station masters decide not to issue tickets after midnight today. The man arrested after 14 years over wife's brutal murder. And in news overseas, Ukraine hopes truce will bring down war tensions. And in sports, it's cricket. The USA stuns Ireland by 26 runs in the first 2020 international between the sides in Florida. And now the local news in detail. The police media spokesman, SSP Nihal Talduha, says special operations are taking place to see whether instructions of the Director General of Health Services are followed during the festive season. He said traffic police, STF police officers and intelligence officers have been deployed for the operations. He further said information can be given over the hotline numbers 118, 119 and 1917. The 77th anniversary of International Civil Aviation Services was celebrated under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Civil Aviation Authority this morning. The President, who arrived at the premises, exchanged views with staff. He viewed an exhibition of inventors at the place. The President presented awards to 5 seniors who contributed to the progress of the civil airline services. Several students who won a competition organized online by the authority were presented awards on the occasion. After the Second World War, 26 countries signed Chicago Convention in 1944 to regulate airline services. As a result of that, International Civil Aviation Services was launched. Sri Lanka became a member of the organization on the 1st of June 1948. The Ministry of Health says 301 more COVID patients were discharged from medical care today. This brings the total number of recoveries reported in the country to 558,527. Sri Lanka has recorded 581,595 COVID patients so far. More than 8,500 patients are receiving treatment. Meanwhile, the death toll from the coronavirus outbreak in the country stands at 14,811. The Deputy Director General of Colombo National Hospital, Dr. Kumara Wickramasinghe, says all activities are taking place at the hospital as usual, except for clinics and outpatient department. He said several surgeries, including kidney transplants, were performed yesterday. Services of the Lady Ridgeway Hospital in Colombo are continuing. Outpatients department and clinics at the Jaffna Teaching Hospital are functioning. Meanwhile, GMOA committee member Dr. Vasan Rajaratnam said that Health Minister had assured to provide solutions to their problems within 24 hours. He said they would continue their strike action until solutions are provided. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The chairman of the Railway Station Masters Union, Sumedha Somaratne, says they will resort to trade union action by not issuing tickets after 12 midnight today. He accused the management of the Railway Department ignoring instructions of the Transport Ministry. He said they would engage in an indefinite trade union action after 12 midnight on Sunday if solutions are not given to their demands. Meanwhile, General Manager of Railways, Dhammika Jayasundara, requested the union not to inconvenience the public during the festive season. The family of a fisherman who died while fishing in the Nandikadal Sea in Mullaitivu district has been given compensation. Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda handed over a cheque for 1 million rupees as compensation today. 500,000 rupees have been given to the wife of the fisherman who died at the end of the last year. 250,000 rupees have been given to each of the 2 children. Scholarships have been offered to children of war heroes' families who passed Grade 5 scholarship examination, GCE O-level and A-level examinations. Value of the scholarships was more than 3 million rupees. The presentation ceremony took place this morning at the Army headquarters under the patronage of Mrs. Sujiva Nelson. The Army Commander General Shavendra Silva was the chief guest on the occasion. The DFCC Bank announced the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with the National Chamber of Commerce and will now act as one of the Chamber's key strategic partners. Through this MOU, DFCC Bank extends the comprehensive array of end-to-end financial solutions to all members of the NCE, providing access to customized export financing solutions that in turn enable them to do bigger and better business. The National Chamber of Exporter of Sri Lanka is the leading chamber exclusively responsible for serving the export sector with a wide range of services. The membership of the chamber represents leading exporters across all products and services sectors in Sri Lanka, ranging from large to small export-oriented enterprises. And that ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
More than 3 million people have been given the booster dose under the COVID vaccination program. The epidemiology unit said 3,06,409 have received the booster dose by this morning. 147,745 persons have been given the booster dose yesterday. Pfizer vaccine is given as the third dose in the country. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight this evening, police urged the general public, including shop owners, to be vigilant over the circulation of counterfeit notes during transactions, especially during the festive season. Police urged public to inform the 119 Police Emergency Response Unit or the nearest police station if any persons attempted to exchange counterfeit notes. And that came to you in Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
Christmas and New Year sales with CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable prizes and vouchers for CIB beers during the entire month of December. 20% discount will be given for bank cards and for gift vouchers. Visit CIB today as well.
Moving on to a bulletin of world news, first the headlines. Ukraine hopes truce will bring down war tensions. President Biden hails supply chain wins, but problems persist. Australia settles lawsuit over welfare scheme criticized as racist. Now the world news in detail. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to restore a 2020 ceasefire deal in eastern Ukraine, prompting a top official in Kiev to say that the coming holidays should be peaceful. Ukrainian Presidential Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak hailed the deal brokered by Europe's OSCE security organization as a step towards de-escalation. The agreement coincides with heightened tensions in the region. The US President Joe Biden has said government measures to tackle global supply chain issues have averted a pre-Christmas crisis. He was speaking ahead of a meeting with officials and company bosses, including transportation giant FedEx. In June, he created a task force to address rising prices and shortages of goods caused by the pandemic. However, some business owners and industry experts say American firms are still facing supply problems. Australia's government will pay $1.4 million in compensation to hundreds of Aboriginal people who said a welfare scheme was racist. The work for the dole scheme required people in remote outback communities to work up to 25 hours a week to receive income benefits. But its strict requirements meant that many vulnerable people were pushed further into poverty, critics said. The government settled a lawsuit but did not admit it was at fault. Back to the headlines of the world news. Ukraine hopes truce will bring down war tensions. President Biden hails supply chain wins, but problems persist. Australia settles lawsuit over welfare scheme criticized as racist. And that concludes the bulletin of world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
Christmas and New Year sales with CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable prizes and vouchers for CIB beers during the entire month of December. 20% discount will be given for bank cards and for gift vouchers. Visit CIB today as well.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070-400-1928.
In development news, the first prototype Sojan project under the present government was launched near the Kiribati walking path. This project has been initiated jointly by the Land Conservation Project of the Ministry of Environment and the Kelaniya Divisional Secretariat. This project has been initiated with the objective of cultivating lands which could not be cultivated due to floods and the lands which could not be cultivated due to high salinity. And that was the development news story.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on with sports news.
Moving on to sports news, it's the Commonwealth Games. The baton with the message of Queen Elizabeth II symbolizing Commonwealth Games is scheduled to be brought to the country on the 3rd of next month from Bandaranaike International Airport. The chairman of the Olympic Committee, Suresh Subramaniam, said today several programs have been organized to mark the event. It will be kept for 3 days in the country. The baton will be taken back to the Commonwealth Games Union after a function on the 6th at the Temple Trees. The British High Commission in Colombo has also organized a function in this regard. Meanwhile, in cricket news, the USA stunned Ireland by 26 runs in the first 2020 international between the sides in Florida. It was the first time an International Cricket Council full member had faced the USA on American soil. After slumping to 16 for 4 inside 5 overs in Lauderhill, the USA rallied as Sushant Modani's 50 and Gajrang Singh's 65 helped them post a mammoth 188 for 6. Ireland fell well short with the bat despite Logan Tucker's unbeaten 57. And that was sports news.
For all foreign currencies remitted through NSB based on the US dollar value, 10 rupees more per dollar plus more gifts until 31st December 2021. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Amethyst Resort Pasiguda, part of the Aitken Spence Hotel, has opened its doors to welcome furry friends as a pet-friendly hotel. The resort is strategically located in a lengthy, shallow coastal belt in the east. Designed with large open spaces and undisturbed tropical green, the Amethyst Pasiguda is ideal for pets who deserve a change of scenery with their owners. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic News, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Sri Lanka's merchandise exports increased by 55.11% to $1,215.6 million in November 2021 compared to November 2020 as per the data released by the Sri Lanka Customs. Export maintenance above $1 billion for the 5th consecutive month in November this year. The EDB chairman and CEO Suresh D. Timel said Sri Lanka's exports continued its remarkable achievement in November 2021, registering another $1 billion monthly revenue. And that ends Economic News. The weather report is next.
The weather report.
And finally, on to the weather report. The Met Department says mainly fair weather will prevail over most parts of the island. There is a possibility of ground frost in some places in the Nuwara district at the early hours of the morning. Misty conditions can be expected in the western, Sabaragamuwa Central, North Central and Uva provinces and Galle and Mathura districts during the morning. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. Special operations are being conducted to check on health guidelines during the festive season. More than 3 million persons have been given the booster dose. The 77th anniversary of civil airline services celebrated under the patronage of the President. The GMO says it will continue strike action until their problems are solved. The station masters decide not to issue tickets after midnight today. The man arrested after 14 years over wife's brutal murder. And in news overseas, Ukraine hopes truce will bring down war tensions. And in sports, it's cricket. The USA stuns Ireland by 26 runs in the first 2020 international between the sides in Florida. And that concludes this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.